And so the pig is able to make the claim, and the farmer looks down at him and says, "That'll do, pig." Anyway, it's called Babe. You should watch it.
I feel like I already have.
Let's do this live stream.
Okay, all right. Well, oh my gosh, we're live. Welcome everyone to the Roll20 Community Roundtable. I am one of your hosts. I am Soraya, the Director of Communications for Roll20, and with me is a fabulous storyteller.
Kenton Hansen, that's me, Product Director here at Roll20.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, everyone, to the May 2020 Roundtable. If you missed us last month, I hope you know that every Roundtable goes up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/roll20app. So you can go catch the playlist there for any of the ones that you missed. And this one will also be going up there too. So if you have to leave early, you can catch it there. We answered a lot of questions last time. We've got a lot of questions this time. So we're going to try and go through questions lightning mode again. Last time we went over some updates with dynamic lighting. We talked about Pathfinder 2, the Extinction Curse adventure path, which, good news, parts 1 and 2 just came out 2 days ago. We also talked through some cool ideas and suggestions from you all, and we'll have some more of that this time. We have been putting more resources on our Help Center. Very recently, we added a new Getting Started for Players article. It has some new video, it has some new write-ups, it's got some great new content, so I highly recommend going and checking that out. Let us know if you like it. Let us know if you're bringing people over to Roll20 and they're trying it out for the first time, if you find it helpful, because we tried to keep it something that would be a good way to ease you into the game, give you the tools you needed, but not give you so much that you got overwhelmed. And for the people who have spent a lot of time on Roll20 and are used to the way things work, I think a lot of you will still appreciate this quality of life update that just went out. You can now delete folders in your journal. This hotfix just went out today.
Not just folders, though.
Huh?
Yeah, it went out this morning, but it's not just folders. You can choose to delete the folder and then everything contained therein,
yes.
which is the big benefit. You could delete folders themselves for a while, but now you can delete folders and the content.
Right. So anytime you just have a whole bunch of stuff to get rid of, you just put it in that folder and gone. Yeah. So give that a try. We also have been working extremely hard on updated dynamic lighting. There were 6 updates this week alone on that. Any favorites, Kenton?
I like that. I like the light doesn't go past barriers. That was a good one.
That is a good one. I hear that barriers are intended to block.
That's the goal.
It's really cool. I enjoy the updated dynamic lighting, and I hope people are giving it a try. Even like I said, we updated it 6 times this week alone. We've been updating it a lot. So if you tried it out when we first launched it and had some issues with it, maybe like going through barriers, we've fixed a lot of those now. We're continuing to fix more, and we love and appreciate all the feedback that everyone has been giving us in the threads on the Roll20 forum. So thank you. Coming soon, we have an update for compendiums that I'm very, very excited about because it's something that I personally have been agitating for a while. But I'm just doing that thing where I tease you all with knowledge that I will not then share. Next week, information about compendiums.
I am going to say that this is you mentioned it in the last roundtable when it was just in development. Next week it's coming out.
Oh, did I already spill those beans?
Well, I mean, spill is relative. You asked me if it was okay, and I said it was, so I spilled the beans.
Oh, that's right. All right.
But this way, then we'll get more views on the last one too.
Fair enough. All right. Well, V2 Blast in chat is saying Soraya why, so I guess I can assuage that for you, V2 Blast. So we are adding compendium selection, which is a tool that will allow you to decide which books are available in your game. So if you own, for example, a lot of D&D 5e source books, let's say you own Ravnica, but you're not running a campaign that's set in Ravnica and that rulebook has a bunch of really unique stuff, you will now have the ability to say, I don't want to use Ravnica rules in my game. I do want Xanathar's, and I do want the player's handbook, but not Ravnica this time. So it really allows you to kind of control that and measure that better. So that's what's coming. All right, the secret's out. We also put out release notes once a week, so you can keep informed on changes and progress. We'll have somebody drop the changelog for you in chat, and you can see all of those, 6 updates for dynamic lighting and folders and all of that good stuff. So highly recommend keeping an eye on the changelog. We've been very, very busy. We also have had a lot of really exciting new things come out on the Roll20 marketplace, like Out of the Abyss. Hopefully that answers some questions from people in chat. I know that we got questions from some folks going by JR, and Justin, who were asking about exactly that. So there's your answer. It's already out. Mythic Odysseys of Theros will be next up on June 2nd, but you can pre-order it now. And we'll have just a little more news on Mythic Odysseys of Theros in a minute. We also just launched Zweihander. They've made their player's handbook a free compendium, so be sure to check it out. That makes it really easy to get in and start a new game. We have also released, as I mentioned earlier, the parts 1 and 2 of the adventure path for the Extinction Curse from Paizo. This is Pathfinder 2nd edition. So we're going to be releasing that entire adventure path. The remainder will come out in June. And then we also have the Pathfinder 2nd edition Bestiary. I always say Bestiary, but I think it's Bestiary. Kenton, which is it?
I think it is Bestiary, just for the pun.
All right. We're going to be releasing the best Bestiary next week. And after we have the Extinction Curse adventure path out, we're also going to go into further adventure paths with Paizo, and we're going to be aiming for day and date with the rest of Pathfinder 2nd edition adventure paths. So there's really a lot of adventure path content coming out, plus like all the regular stuff. We've got some new marketplace additions on our blog. Evil Hat in particular has been very busy recently. I love them. I'm personally excited to play The Secret Lives of Cats, which is one of their things. You can check out our latest marketplace additions on our blog. Every Thursday we do a little marketplace roundup, so go check that out if you want to see what else is new, and keep an eye out in particular for all those Evil Hat things. So just a quick reminder, because I'm seeing questions in chat, we're going to go through this overview and talk about what's coming out. Then we're going to start taking some questions that were pre-submitted. We will also start answering questions from chat, but a lot of those will be closer to the end, so we're going to be gathering those questions throughout. Our moderators are tracking those questions so that I can get back to them, or Kenton can get back to them. We will answer your questions, even if not right away. But the thing I mentioned earlier with a little bit more news about the Mythic Odysseys of Theros is that we are bringing a new show onto Roll20. The group Indoor Recess. Most of these folks you will be familiar with from the show Jace Bellerin Must Die. We have also welcomed to this group Siloni Bailey, which is something that we're all very excited about. They will be doing a first look at Mythic Odysseys of Theros. Let's see, I think they start next Tuesday, and
That's what I recall as well.
Yeah. Okay, great. I'm on it. Our first session will be run by TK, who will be our GM for this. It starts at 8 p.m. Pacific, and their first session next week is going to be a GM walkthrough and prep session of the book, which is not yet released. So be warned, there will be spoilers, but it'll be a really exciting first content look. We also have an ongoing show, Learning Roll20. This show is an hour long, and on the D&D channel once a week, we will be doing a show with Victoria, who is the GM of the Broadswords, and Carlos Luna, who is our very own content producer. It goes on the D&D Twitch channels at 4:15 p.m. Pacific times on the D&D Twitch channel. And they teach us how to play D&D on Roll20. If you can't make it, you can catch all the VODs up on YouTube. And they've done 4 episodes so far, with 4 more to go.
It's been really good. I've been liking to see that content come in, and we talked earlier about the features that Roll20 has are broad and varied, and this helps someone who is worried about the fire hose or just getting completely stand underneath a waterfall. It can be fun sometimes, but sometimes you just need a drinking fountain, and this is a really great way to do the drinking fountain.
This is a great way to do the drinking fountain. And if you come to the live stream, you can actually ask questions of Victoria and Carlos as they're going through it. Each show has a theme where, today maybe they'll talk about compendiums, or another day they might talk about character sheets or something like that. So it really helps break it down into much more digestible bits. Yeah. But it's great. It's been really exciting. And we have more shows on the way. We're actually going to have the cast of Roll20 Presents coming back with a classic adventure very soon. We'll have more details on that in the near future. And we have a brand new indie showcase series coming up. Basically, you should just follow Roll20 on Twitch, maybe subscribe to us on YouTube, and you'll get all of these helpful things as they're coming out. But yeah, we've got a lot of video content coming up and very excited for you all to see it. We also started, speaking of some good teaching tools, we've started doing something called the Tome of Tips. It's a brand new series that's out on social media. It's on Twitter, Instagram, and our blog. We go over some frequently asked questions for some basics of Roll20. The latest one was on the Roll20 Character Mancer, so it kind of walks you through the basics of what that is and what that does. So check out the Tome of Tips. We also always have Roll20 Spotlight creators putting out great actual play content. You can check the Roll20 Spotlight hashtag for them. A number have been putting together tutorial videos and tips to help new users start on Roll20 as well. We can drop a link to that in the chat as well to help you find some Roll20 Spotlight creators. And we have another online convention coming this weekend, so check it out for details. We're going to be listing some of these online conventions in our blog. We will have details in particular on PaizoCon, including the names of 2 free adventures that we are releasing and more events that are coming up. So lots of online content recently.
I feel like I need to come up with some words to say so that Soraya can catch her breath. So here are the words that came into my head.
Just tell me the plot of another wholly original story that I've never heard before.
Well, this one is about a man who's flying to California for Christmas.
Okay.
It's called Die Hard.
That would be a great one. Let's talk about Die Hard after the stream. During the stream, I wanted to show some really cool marketplace content that we have right now. Like I said, we just released the first 2 parts of the Extinction Curse and Adventure Path for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. It's cool. You can be a circus cat. I want to be a circus cat.
You can't be.
What?
You can be.
I can be. Wow, with the magic of Roll20?
Absolutely.
Okay, that sounds amazing. Gosh, I sure love Roll20. We also have, we wanted to show off this pack, the BFF Best Friends Forever pack. Or actually, this is a whole game. This is a game about making friends. It's made by the creator of Fall of Magic. You can pick it up for $9.99, and it's just a little tabletop RPG that you can pick up. It's very cute. It's very fun. The art pack that we were showing off this week is Desurian's animated portraits. Look how cute they are. And they're all actually animated. So if you were to use these in your game, they would have little idle animations and the like. So it's very, very cute. Then the last one that we want to show off is this game called Spoken Magic. It is a collaborative storytelling game about spellcrafting brought to us by Dylan Grinder. So highly recommend checking that one out on the marketplace as well. And that is the I see someone in chat is volunteering to make me a circus cat at PaizoCon. I may take you up on that, Rin. I want to be a circus cat. There, you may notice a certain theme of mine with, like, I was just talking about how much I want to enjoy Evil Hat's game about being cats. I'm just in a cat mood, you know? Maybe it's all this alone time I've been getting.
Yeah, that could be. You have a cat personality in like the best way possible, for sure.
Oh.
Of like, yeah. I'll let you determine what I mean by that.
Yeah, let's I'll just take, since you specified the best ways, I'll just assume very cool, very graceful. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, now I will put you on the spot and make you talk a little bit.
Sounds good.
Because we have some viewer questions for you. These are the pre-submitted questions. Again, for the folks in chat, we're going to do some of these pre-submitted questions. We will get to your questions from chat in a little bit. But our first question is from someone who both pre-submitted and is currently in the chat. It's Gargamond. Hi, Gargamond. What sorts of changes or improvements can we expect of the Jukebox in the foreseeable future?
We've actually released a couple of, I'll call them enhancements to make the Jukebox more proficient, more proficient and efficient. With the surge of players that we've experienced with social distancing and people staying at home, which I applaud, we've done some work in there to find the small things that make the Jukebox run slower or slow down other games and improve those. We are releasing more often than the once a week pace that we had before. Like, we tended to go towards once a week. We've been pushing releases out much faster with some better infrastructure and some better tooling to help us do that. So yeah,
infrastructure and tooling, two of my favorite things.
Well, good. Have we got it in spades?
Very nerdy. And Bryn wants to know, will we ever fully integrate battle bards into Roll20? We got some music questions to kick us off.
Yeah, I love battle bards. I love the audio files they provide for us, and I actually talked with the battle bards team when we were revamping the Jukebox. We were all excited about working together and trying to get things going. Unfortunately, it didn't come together at that time because we were in the midst of solving for another third party who was changing and putting audio files at risk and etc. And we weren't ready to integrate with another third party at that point. And we wanted to make sure that we owned the responsibility to maintain the audio files, which is why we went with the My Audio feature and adding that to Jukebox, allowing you to upload those things.
Yeah, and I think that this ties into another question that we're going to get in. I'll just put it up next. And also, thank you to WebDM. Our friends from WebDM are rating with a party of 9. But yeah, related to that, Kenton, Cass and Sarge A9er want to know, will Tabletop's audio soundboard make an appearance, and will music from more sources be added to the Jukebox? So that's kind of related to what we're talking about.
Yeah, very, very similar. The soundboard idea was a concept that we'd worked with when we revamped the Jukebox a while ago. We don't have any immediate plans to add it, but I love that concept, and I think that especially there's a lot of cool things you can do with sound in a shared virtual environment in that way. Finding the right one, it needed to be simple when we built it, and we haven't gotten back around to expanding that feature set yet. But yet is the crucial word.
Yet is the operative word here. That's exciting stuff.
I will say it is kind of doable. Sorry to interrupt you, Soraya, there, but it is kind of doable with the way we did playlists. Like, we were thinking of it in that a way where you could have a playlist that is your soundboard, and you can choose to play it once or put it on repeat, so you could start something up and go. It's not great as it's not a perfect user interface in that way, but it is doable. So yeah.
Actually, to kind of circle back, Grant Ellis from WebDM is the person who rated us just now. Papa Grant, thank you. Just finished a Roll20 powered stream. So
nice.
Yeah, that's cool. And next question.
Let me ask you one. When will, that's how this works, isn't it? We do this planning and then I forget it live in front of people.
What planning? We do this completely extemporaneously.
When will the 5th edition, I'm assuming D&D 5th edition rule books, like the Dungeon Master's Guide and Sword Coast Adventures Guide, come out on Roll20?
We are completing all of our D&D 5e back catalog by the end of 2020. We don't have production dates to share for those titles yet, but They are going to be out sometime this year. You've already seen a little bit of us addressing the backlog when Out of the Abyss launched a couple weeks ago. And we do understand that a lot of people were kind of taken by surprise when Out of the Abyss came out because we hadn't done a whole lot of build up to that one. So we're going to do much more work to make sure you're all informed when Sword Coast and the Dungeon Master's Guide are coming out. But we're not yet at a point where we can share dates on that.
Cool.
James wants to know, is there anything that can be done about how hardware acceleration affects streaming?
James, my friend, this is a complicated web of technology. OBS, or Open Broadcasting Software, is
That's what I'm using
right now. It's the big one for streaming. And hi, James. I see James in chat.
Yeah.
And,
hi, James. James offered to make me a cat.
I'm going to say hello as I present possibly disappointing news. The Open Broadcasting Software doesn't like using fancy graphics processors. So if you have a nice video card in your computer and you've got multiple cores like doing the processing in there, when OBS sees that and you have hardware acceleration on, it's like, oh, I can't touch that browser. No thanks. Like, I'll just give you a black screen window. The problem with that is that hardware acceleration is one of the big things that we've done to make the graphics processing that we do in Roll20 in the browser much faster. So,
because now we can actually leverage your graphics card for
right. Whereas opposed before we had to use the CPU, which wasn't as efficient, and so on and so forth. So it is something we're working towards to figure out how that works. There is a workaround that's simple right now. Is if you're going to capture with the with like Firefox, if you're using Chrome, you can open up the player view in Firefox and capture that window. If you want to do windowed, you can also do the full screen, like capture your entire screen, but I know everyone doesn't have a second monitor, third or fifth monitor. Although a lot of streamers setups that I've seen are in fact many monitored in that way.
These are just like sitting in front of a whole minority report type of
yeah.
If only, right, streamers?
Yeah, that's how it is. And I get why you want that, but we're reaching for a feasible fix for sure. We want to leverage the power of hardware acceleration on the browser and also allow streaming for sure. And maybe OBS will fix their maybe OBS will enhance their software and resolve this.
We can certainly hope. Do we have any plans on adding Twitch support for extensions?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a Twitch. I'm trying to think of the word that Twitch uses for the one that we did, but basically ways to interact with your Roll20 data on a Twitch stream. We're in the works right now, in R&D and prototyping, and so that more on that is coming in the future.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is one for me that I timed for right as you went for a drink.
Yeah, it's perfect. I keep forgetting how we did this so well last time, and now
we did.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I'll try harder. When or will we see Starfinder's Deck of Many Worlds on sale on the marketplace?
Let's see. We don't have plans for it right now. Thank you for the suggestion. I wish I had better news for you, but we will look into the product and see if it's a good fit.
Always glad to hear products that people want to buy.
Yeah,
that helps us prioritize those efforts for sure.
And I personally like decks and worlds. Yeah.
Thanks, Bramble, for that question. I'm going to say Trias, Holahex, Lee, and Derek Jeter. I didn't know Derek Jeter was a Roll20 user. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. Would like updates on the Starfinder and Pathfinder charactermancers and sheet functionality.
Well, we are currently in development on the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Charactermancer. So that one is coming. It's been a bit complicated because Pathfinder 2nd Edition has a lot of moving gears to work with. But alongside that character Mancer development, we are actively improving the sheet. That's another thing that you can check out in our changelog, and you'll see very frequent little changes that we've made to the sheet. I think one of the next things that's on our to-do list is drag and drop, which is on the release list but doesn't have a release date.
We're working towards it for sure.
Okay.
Any update on the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Age of Ashes module? Lee would like to know.
Wow, I didn't even switch the question yet. That's
sorry.
Honestly rude. But yeah, so after the Extinction Curse, like I said earlier, Extinction Curse is the one that we're going to be finishing at the end of June. That's the current one. Once we have Extinction Curse out, we are going to be moving right into Agents of Edgewatch, which is the next adventure path. We're going to be releasing that one day and date with Paizo. So when that one comes out in the physical world, it will come out in our digital world as well. Once we've consistently established a pattern of being able to maintain day and date releases with Pathfinder 2nd Edition APs, that's when we will revisit our ability to release Age of Ashes. Trying to tackle too much at one time was what caused Age of Ashes to fall off our plate initially, and we don't want that to happen for other Pathfinder APs. So that's why we're going to try and establish this cycle going forward, and then we're going to try and back catalog Age of Ashes once that feels more set. So hopefully the other adventure paths appeal to you, Lee, because we're going to have a bunch of those, but we will revisit Age of Ashes once we feel like we can get that production schedule hammered out.
Do we want to do some chat questions now?
Sure, we can do an early break for chat questions. They've been very busy.
They have. I have been seeing the questions pile up, so I figured we could get to them.
Wise. All right, we're now answering chat questions. All righty. And9 wants to know, will the tutorial be updated at some point, fixing the bunch of bugs it has, or leave some warnings for those who try to use it? They're concerned that some of our new users might get stuck on it, which is relevant because we were talking about trying to make things easier for them.
Yeah, us too. The question was phrased, will the tutorial be updated at some point? I think we're we're creating many more ways for people to learn Roll20, because one way isn't the way that everyone else works all the time. We've actually, the videos that you talked about, Soraya, earlier.
Getting started for players, learning Roll20.
That's going to be part of it. Several of those pieces are coming together in order to make allow people, and in the help center, the articles that are the crash course for GMs, all those things that we're bringing more attention to are a part of learning Roll20, and it's not just going to be the tutorial that exists at one time. Especially the tutorial was we're trying to make Roll20 better all the time. The tutorial was brittle when it came to that. When we made a change, it would require other changes in that as well. So yes, but also no, but also yes.
Yes, but no, but yes, my favorite answer. But yeah, the long and short of it is the tutorial itself is a bit unwieldy to update. We're still looking at it. We're still trying to improve it. We're also trying to improve our other resources, so you're not so not everyone is reliant on the tutorial, and we do have other ways to learn the platform. So check out that Getting Started for Players Help Center article. I'm really proud of how it came out.
I am too. And I already did. I have it saved in multiple places.
Yeah. So with regard to customer service, should producers expect to wait, this is from ACID69, should producers expect to wait more than 3 weeks for a response that closes their request with no dialogue? So I know what they're talking about. And our XP team lead weighed in on this as well, saying this is not a decision that was made lightly. We know that it ended up being a bad experience for a lot of people. It's definitely not our norm as far as customer support. A lot of things are not our norm as far as customer support right now, and we're very sorry for everyone who's had to deal with these shortcomings in recent weeks, as we are implementing a number of improvements in our ticketing process, trying to get back on track and trying to get our tickets up to date so that as new tickets are coming in, we want to get back to answering you quickly. We do have more improvements coming. We don't expect that they will lead to this type of call being made again. For reference, we closed some old tickets. If you had an old ticket that was closed, and your ticket, if you still want that ticket to be open, we do invite and ask you to send in that ticket again. What we've done is we've now created a web form that helps us sort through the tickets and get through them faster. So if you still have a ticket that you were waiting on an answer for and you got it closed, please send us that ticket again. We will be able to get to it much faster this time. But yeah, we appreciate your patience and your understanding and hope that you'll hang with us and give us another try in the future, because we're definitely doing a lot to try and improve that customer support experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Seeing that in a lot of places too.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is from Ezekiru. They want to know if there will be any possibility for at least the Lost Omens character guide to be adapted to Roll20. Actually, let me come back to that because I need to research the answer to that. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead to Lena 90L. When will we get a 24-hour clock option for games listing?
I haven't heard of that suggestion before, or that idea before. So I'll say for the first time at 31 minutes into this roundtable, which I think might be a new record that I haven't mentioned it this earlier, Roll20 suggestions and ideas. It exists there for you to put in any random thing that you want within some caveats there. To suggest a 24-hour clock. Cool. Some people like 24-hour time. Time is a construct, and we all measure it in different ways. And so throw that into suggestions and ideas. Send it to your friends. Tell them to add a vote to it. Tell us why, what that's going to do for you, how it'll make it easier to play on Roll20. And yeah, I'll read through it. I guarantee. Oh, I've lost your audio, Soraya.
Thank you.
There he is.
All right. Another time question for you, Kenton. Are you ready to dive into this construct?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. This is Crunch 828.
Let me jump into my TARDIS.
Is there an in-game timer so you can make your players make fast decisions, or if not, can one be added?
Yeah, there is a timer. There's several different timer APIs, I know for sure, API scripts that are one click. So pro users can add those to their games and have them in there. And goodness, I was talking about how broad and varied the features of Roll20 are, and I have this inkling that there exist ones. Chat will probably tell me if I'm wrong. I know, yeah.
Combat tracker? I don't know if that's an API or a different tool.
That's an API, one-click API for sure. So,
cool.
yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's do one more question, and then I'm going to bounce back to the pre-submitted questions, and we'll return to more chat questions. So we're not done chat. We'll be back. James wants to know if we would consider partnering with Sirenscape. That's just it. I think basically tell them to work with us. They're welcome to reach out, and we'd be happy to see what we can do.
Yeah, we're interested in bringing in those external tools. I will say, the third party aspect is always something that we consider, and sounds like something that needs to be researched in a variety of ways. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, back to some pre-submitted questions.
Can we do the one from Real Micah real quick?
Sure. Can you? Oops.
Sorry.
Can you read the one from Real Micah?
Yeah. The RNG, the random number generator in Roll20, seems to be throwing patterns where certain people end up with demonstratably lower rolls on a regular basis. Is there any chance at looking into that? Real Micah, you too can do this. Actually, we publish all the rolls in a grouped format to measure our random number generation. There are patterns that you see, but that's because your brain was set up to find patterns to hunt for food. So I'd encourage you to take a look at I think we can get the link in chat, the Quantum Roll.
Link. I love that link, actually.
Yeah,
I'm a nerd
it's
for
great. There it is. Quantum Roll, it actually shows the rolls that people have made over 24 hours and the distribution thereof. And we're Always looking at that to make sure that it's about there. As long as you see the little quantum roll icon next to your roll, you know that it was generated based off, the most random thing that exists.
Fluctuations in a beam of light.
Yep.
I love
Most random
quantum
thing in
roll.
the universe. It's great.
I genuinely am a nerd for quantum roll. I think it's very cool. We got like a laser or something watching dust motes
science.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're watching random fluctuations in a beam of light and using that to generate the numbers that control your game. So isn't that cool? Take a look at quantum roll.
It's much more random that piece of plastic with built-in
weighting.
Yeah, impurities. Yeah, I was getting into like all those little sparklies. That's going to make it roll in different ways all the time. So
it's true. Our dice are better than your dice. Fight me. All right. I think right back to a dice question. I think this is where we left off. It's a question from Bryn that back in 2015, Riley posted a new way to roll dice, which decided their angle. Why was this project dropped?
It wasn't dropped. It actually is a feature that's available right now in all the games. Go to settings in your game and under Roll20 Dice and make sure that roll automatically is off. And then whenever you put a roll in chat or click on your character sheet or click on the quick roller or click on the dice roller, 4 different ways to roll your dice. Any one of those will bring up the screen that Riley demonstrates in the video that you sent in, Bryn. And you can choose the direction and the force that you want with your bloop
dice.
With your dice. Yeah, thank you.
You've said the word so much that it's lost all meaning.
What does that even mean? It'll roll the dice, and everyone who has 3D dice turned on can actually see your dice as well. You can choose the color of your dice based on your player color done by your portrait.
Cool. Let's see. Do we have more dice questions? No, but we do have more Bryn questions. Will the ruler ever be expanded to allow area of effects templates, or will we allow marketplace creators the ability to integrate spell templates into things that they're selling?
So there are area of effect and spell templates that exist in the marketplace now. I know that for sure. I've seen them. Typically, they're measured as tokens, or they're set up as tokens. Excuse me. So you can buy those and pull them out and measure them appropriately. The ruler, I think the ruler spell template is a great idea. I know that there's a suggestion, for that kind of thing. It is probably wouldn't do it directly for spell templates. In an effort to maintain, whatever game system agnosticism, as it were. What's the round things? Circles. Yeah, measuring a circle with the ruler would be a good idea. Absolutely. Love to see that.
We put our people who are best at words front and center for this roundtable.
Yes. Sometimes me no talk too good, so.
GM's League wants to know how long before the feature to allow GMs to delete a line of text is implemented.
That design work is scheduled to start soon, so even sooner than you thought. Yeah.
Awesome. And then from Spren, they want to know any ETA on when full token size custom status markers will be released, like the ones that are the same size as the token, I think is what they mean.
Well, so we have exactly one, and up until the point in history, we have only had one. That was something that we wanted to get to with the custom token markers, and we've built in, like in the marketplace, custom token marker sets in the marketplace all have a size that's built for that, so that we can expand into that. We don't backwards compatible essentially, but we don't have any plans right now to do that in the near term future. So any ETA, the answer is no ETA at this time. We did want to make sure that we got the feature out sooner and saw what use was and how people were using it before we
dig back in.
Yeah, and so that's happening now, and no ETA right now, but a great idea.
I do love me some custom token markers.
Yeah, a lot of people have seen those and really started using them.
Yeah. Our next question is from Con, who wants to know, when will we be able to duplicate, copy, paste, and store already made map with all the journal entries from the tokens on it?
That is again, the page menu is due for some love for sure. I have been working on I've been working on the scope for that, like getting that down actually as early as today, this afternoon.
Ooh,
So planning is the first step to doing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
what I've heard. That's the
Okay.
rumor.
Yeah. It's actually the not the bane, but it's my pet project to get this done in the right way, and soon. So incremental progress is coming for sure.
Right. So we don't have an ETA, but this one we're working on actively.
Yep.
We are going to give the page menu some love in general, and that may include this duplicate page option. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome. Let's talk about your other favorite project, Kenton. When we'll be able to make our own custom compendiums for homebrews.
That is farther off for sure. We've been working with working with publishers and other third parties, giving them access to the compendium tool that we've had. But honestly, the poor compendium has been neglected, even more than some of the other things that people, the user base can see. It's been an internal thing, and it's really been put through its paces, putting out all the content that has shown up on the marketplace. I mean, the long list of stuff that we've put out in the last month is kind of amazing to me that exists.
Go production team.
Absolutely. I talk about this in the suggestion that for custom compendiums, the compendium itself is built around the character sheet, and a lot of people are talking about compendiums and just from a rule set, or just want to save a character, or an item or something like that in a place where they can pull it between games. And so there's some of that functionality that doesn't have to have a compendium with it, but it's a Gordian knot.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there it is.
We've talked about it a little bit before, but there are some issues that come about with custom compendiums. So if you want more detailed answer, I'm actually going to recommend going to the playlist of previous community roundtables, because I'm pretty sure last month was one of the ones where we kind of did an in-depth talk about this. Yeah.
If we didn't, I'd be surprised.
That was a question from Tabula Zero. I forgot to say. All right.
Thanks. Ralph, Tabula Zero to Ralph. Ralph wants to know, how many registered users do you count simultaneously online at peak times?
More than usual. Our team has been working hard to make sure that our services are able to grow, to keep going for folks playing from home around the world for the past few months. There's certainly been an increase, but we're doing our best to make sure that our services are ready to support you all and enable folks to keep connecting and playing with friends and having that good time. So can't give you the actual numbers, but definitely we're working on keeping those services up and expanding.
So one more kind of in that vein, Alessandro wants to know, is it possible to share some tech details / specs about the platform?
I don't know how to answer that because that's so broad. So I will just say that our platform is too robust, too powerful, too many-layered and multifaceted to detail in the short time that we have here.
We need several hours.
Yes, but Alessandro, if you're in chat, feel free to let us know if there's a specific thing that you want to ask about, or you can follow up with us next month and maybe we can get you an answer. But yeah, we're not trying to skip over your question, but there's a lot that could go into that answer.
And then one more about storage space from Angela R. Are there plans to increase the free user storage space or allow the purchase of permanent space?
We're not currently planning on that. We're not currently planning to change storage capacity for accounts on Roll20. We looked at the average game size and found that for most folks, 100 megabytes, which is what you get with a free account, is enough to comfortably run 3 games with an average amount of art and other assets, so maps and tokens and all of that stuff. If you're running more than 3 games, or if you have a game that has a lot of asset needs that's causing you to need more than 100 megabytes, please consider upgrading to Roll20 Plus. Subscriptions help us fund ongoing development of Roll20 and its features.
And who doesn't love having a little plus tag after your username everywhere?
I love it.
Yeah. Is there any way to import Is there any way to import character that automatically link to the player? Crimson Guyver wants to know.
We always do our best whenever we're designing a feature on Roll20. We do our best to emulate the real world and create ways that interact with the way you're on a tabletop. But sometimes you kind of run into limitations of either computer logic or limitations that are kind of a safety issue of wanting to make sure that the game creator can control what comes into their virtual tabletop. And so when we initially designed and implemented import characters, we erred on the side of making sure that the GMs would be the ones who would be able to control if something comes into their game, how does that thing get used? With that said, might be something that we can revisit because we think now we might be able to do a better job with it. So right now the answer to that is no, and the reason why is because we wanted to make sure that GMs got to control their games, but it might be something we revisit in the future.
It is confusing, especially for new GMs, to know that you don't just. I'm about to sneeze. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is gonna be fun.
The suspense.
Not everybody gets to see an on-stream sneeze from Kenton.
You got to pay Kenton money for that.
There are some ways that I've been looking at to make that easier and more frictionless for GMs, and especially new GMs for sure too.
Okay. The next question is from David, and can we get a way to do glass walls and dynamic lighting?
Yeah, it'll come after updated dynamic lighting has reached feature parity, and we've sunset legacy dynamic lighting. That request, along with several others, the quote-unquote weather layer, overhead layer, etc. There are one-way dynamic lighting lines, some other things, lots of suggestions that people really want that are very highly voted that have been in there for a while. Those depend on using that more advanced graphics processing WebGL technology. And so that's what that's depending on.
All right. I'm going to start speeding us up because we have a couple more pre-submitted questions to go. A couple of chat questions left and limited time to do it. So David also wants to know, can we get screen sharing?
I think it's an interesting idea. I haven't heard anybody ask for it yet, but I'm sure someone did at some time.
Suggestions and ideas for him?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Bryn asks, will you add additional features to the token such as opacity, lighten, and darken?
It's kind of I haven't heard it put this way before. We made a prototype for something like that at one point, and it was interesting, but we didn't see the demand for it at that time, although suggestions and ideas. And yeah. Love it.
Okay.
Frankie wants to know, any chance for non-English sections on the forums?
We moderate our forums to make sure that they match Roll20's code of conduct, and right now the only language we can effectively moderate for is English. That means we can't provide official forum support for other languages that's consistent with our expectations for the forums. With that said, I know that there are several unofficial groups on Facebook and Discord and the like for folks using Roll20 in other languages. Obviously, the site itself does support other languages as well, and I think that those can be a fantastic resource to find community.
Thanks so much to Frankie for that question. Keith C., our own, I believe, wants to know, is it difficult? It's difficult to track issues on the Roll20 sheets and features. Can you talk about ways to improve user information?
Right. Well, that's certainly been something that we've been working on a lot, and we've taken several steps to improve user information over the last year. We have a page that lists out all of our recent updates, both big and small, and we instituted a new process to the suggestions forum that we've recommended a couple of times people be using. That was implemented earlier this year, but basically we now have status tags that will let you know, like, where is this project in Roll20 development, and a threshold at which we guarantee that you'll get an answer from the Roll20 team, Kenton, into what goes on with evaluating whether or not we can do this feature. We know we still have further to go, and the recent increase in new users on Roll20 has highlighted a lot of the places where we're still trying to improve with customer support. I know we're making a switch to use forms. That's the thing that we talked about earlier. That helps us manage the different types of requests a lot more efficiently, sort through issues faster, identify patterns that are creeping up, and that way we can get responses out quicker and find, like, oh, there's there's an issue here, let's solve it. So we're taking all of these steps. Hopefully you're starting to see some of the results of pieces of that, and more of them will come to light in the future, in the near future, because we're working really actively on all of this. All right, we're back with Erin. What challenges are preventing the API from being able to create marketplace-based images, and what is being done to address them?
So I'm actually going to lump in a couple other API questions that were asked about this at different times with the same answer to save time and multiple birds, one stone. The infrastructure was a big part of it, and we've actually been working towards that with some of the slowdowns that we've experienced in the API due to usage over the past couple of weeks. We've kind of been close to the vest with these as we've released them, just because we didn't want to put it out and promise that something was fixed, and it wasn't. We've seen some pretty good results from that so far. We're keeping a very close eye on it through this weekend for sure, before we say like, okay, problem solved. But that was one of the things.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone who has been helping us work on the API. We put out a form for folks who are encountering difficulties, and the feedback that we got to that form has really helped us. Why the distinct lack of map marker, pins, and travel path graphics on the marketplace? Actually, I want to take this one.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Our marketplace is populated by independent creators, many of whom watch this roundtable. Hello. One of my personal favorites is one that I've actually been playing the Quiet Year recently. And we decided that this time, instead of hand drawing our things for the Quiet Year, we were going to use a set of packs called Any Which Way, which you can find on the marketplace. Any Which Way has several map marker assets like pins, and it has like the little pieces that you would need to construct a sort of geographic overview. You've got hills, you've got little buildings where you can be like, this is a temple, this is a farm. So that's just one example, but by and large, the marketplace is populated by independent creators. So if there's something that you really want to see, our independent creators want to know what you want. So reach out to some of them, make requests. They can't necessarily fulfill them, but just, try and talk to our creators. They would love to
put
hear
it out
from you.
into the world, it might come back to you.
Yeah, put that goodness out. And Any Which Way was the name of the pack.
That's what Blockbuster Video told me one time.
Yeah.
You did, yes.
Awesome.
Any Which Way, yeah. You missed my Blockbuster Video joke.
Sorry.
That's all right. Will we see fully animated tabletop integrated battle maps anytime soon, such as the one from Dynamic Dungeons on Patreon? Arlog asks. Soraya.
They can also reach out to us about becoming a marketplace creator. I think that with the files that Dynamic Dungeons creates now, you'd need to do some editing because they're super, super HD. It doesn't work well in a non-streaming environment. But there are, there's GIF support on Roll20, and so there are definitely ways that you could adjust those maps. And if Dynamic Dungeon is something specifically that you want to see, then talk to them and let us know, or have them reach out to us about becoming a marketplace creator. We'd love to hear from them.
I actually use some of their maps on my own games too, so you can do it. It is possible.
Oh, cool. The next one is from Arnlog as well.
Oh yeah. Have you seen Tailspire? Will Roll20 be teaming up with them?
Kind of the same answer. Any company seeking to collaborate with us should email us, or actually you should reach out to us through our Help Center now. That helps us really get through it faster. There's a form. You can look at the Marketplace Creator HQ that will walk you through the process to get in touch with us. So tell them to get in touch. We'd love to hear from them. And now that is all of the pre-submitted questions. So we can go back to chat questions. Woo! Alrighty.
Let's see.
From way back when we were talking about Quantum Roll, Scott H. Casey wants to know how often is the seed updated?
Very often. I actually don't have an amount of time on it, but it is it's with a certain number of rolls, if I remember the code correctly right now. SC69 wants to know, how should producers that want to add to the marketplace go about doing that? I think there's been a link thrown into chat about that, and that's the way to go about doing that.
Yeah, just follow that link, send a form through that, and our team will get back to you about it. Zathos of Varesia wants to know what steps is Roll20 taking for PaizoCon to deal with the added thousands of players who will be playing that week. We are making 2 adventures free to help support it. We are doing our best to make this a welcoming place for our PaizoCon guests, and hopefully folks find it useful and fun.
Yep, we're also adding to our infrastructure to maintain that capacity. That's something that we're actively working on, knowing that that date is coming and working towards that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meditating Monkey wants a follow-up to the spell template question. When can marketplace creators have the game table recognize the size of our tokens and tiles?
Yeah. Monkey. I want to give this to you very badly. I don't know. I don't have a win on that yet. It's been tricked up based on the past user experience about how that works and just working through those problems at the same time as everything else. So I want to give that to you. I don't know when.
Okay. Scott HKC wants to know, will 3D dice ever integrate with roll templates that conditionally show rolls? So for example, crit confirmation rolls being hidden by the roll template unless you rolled a crit, but the 3D dice showing the crit confirm roll and the crit damage.
Yeah, this will dice ever integrate, etc. When there's a roll that's made, we show that roll, and so that's why it is. We haven't looked at changing that necessarily. So we basically to say if you roll for advantage, if you roll with advantage, we roll both dice, and that's how we get that information. And so it would have to be programmed into the character sheet, or those settings would need to be changed in order to do that in the way that we promise we do it now. Yeah.
So it's a little complicated.
Yeah.
James wants to know, will the API calls be fixed by May 30th at maybe 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Pacific time, maybe for some groups, PaizoCon live stream?
I talked about that a little bit earlier. We've been enhancing the infrastructure that runs the API in order to bring it up to date and up to speed. Some of those are already in production. You're already using them. We just haven't put them out as a promise that everything is fixed until we've been able to monitor the resolution and make sure that it's going.
Zoltar33 says that new dynamic lighting is still messy. When is it planned to be more accurate and bug-free?
Earlier in the stream, we talked about 7 updates in the last week.
I said 6. Is there 7?
Oh no, I heard an S number and thought it was 7. 6 updates in the last week, but we're working towards those every day, and every release. We actually plan those in order as soon as they're ready, tested, and ready to go out. So all the time, I guess, is the answer to this question.
Yeah, and our team, we're doing our best as well to keep things updated. There's a forum thread, an official forum thread, where we're talking about updated dynamic lighting, and we're going in there as often as we can to try and update, like, hey, here's the status of this thing, or this thing came out and here's the new fix for it, give it a try. So by all means, like, check that out. We've also got a list of known features that we're updating as we solve for them.
Let's see. Oh, that was Zoltar, right? Yep.
Yep.
Big Mac 10A. I've experienced and seen acknowledged on the forums that there have been performance issues in the last week, months, particularly with API calls. I've recently many times seen it take minutes to get a response from the API call. Any update on this? Haven't submitted to ticket since it seemed to be a well-known issue.
Y'all like the API, and I'm glad you do.
Yeah. We've released some enhancements in the past couple days that we think are solving those issues. We're keeping a close eye on it to make sure that it is before we say so as promised. But yeah.
And now I was able to do some research, and so I can circle back to a question from earlier. Ezekiro, I hope you're still around. Ezekiro had wanted to know if there will be any possibility for the Lost Omens character guide to be adapted to Roll20. There are ancestries in there and setting specific archetype, gods and magic, new spells, new weapons, lots of good stuff with that book. Currently, no plans for it. We're day and date with the crunchiest player books for now, but we may circle back on this in the future.
Great. 2 minute or 1 minute. Ooh. Any chance we'll ever be able to stream music from YouTube or Spotify? Spotify, no. That is not because we don't want to or don't like it or anything else, but Spotify requires a pro subscription, or a pro subscription, to a subscription of some level to them, and they don't allow us to sync that to multiple players. What my GM does when we play is he posts a link in chat, and the people, we can click on it and play it that way, because he likes to use Spotify. So you can do that. YouTube is a different answer. It's possible. We have to work through those licensing issues with YouTube music and how it's displayed, and it's it's not as straightforward as as it might seem.
Okay. So we have a question from Aryak Ita. The Roll20 app for Android and iPhone has a 1-star review with over 10,000 reviews. Any plans to give it some love? And I know that this has somewhat been addressed in chat, but Kenton, I know it's something you're also actively
Sure.
in.
We're actually in the process of removing those from the stores themselves. We have opened what used to be a subscriber feature for using your
Table on tablet.
Table on tablet, using your browser to use the Roll20 interface has been removed. There are some bugs that we're working on out that, and it's a we have been in the works for quite a while on a replacement app we're still working on now, and we don't have a release date scheduled for that yet, but I expect to be doing some beta testing with pro users soon.
So the app that was, we do recognize that there are problems with it, and so we've removed it from the store because we don't really want to keep pushing that out if it's not able to be something we're able to update. But to kind of help ease the pain of that, we've made Table on Tablet a free feature. It used to be subscription only, so you can still use your tablet to browse to Roll20. And we are working on a new mobile app, and that new mobile app will go into beta at some point. So yeah, that's where we stand. And a 9. Why wasn't the updated dynamic lighting called a beta? A good bunch of people seem to be off the deep end with it, despite the warning about it being in development. Calling it a beta sure would have made it more clear for everyone on what level of stability it was on.
That is a philosophical question for sure, because the philosophy, we didn't want to put something out and call it a beta, and the way that some other tech companies will do something like that, say this is an alpha or beta feature, and then pull support for it in the future. This was our level of commitment, and the way that we've been releasing fixes with it, I think bolsters that commitment as well. Of this is the future, and this is where we're going. We didn't want to yank the legacy until we were certain and we felt good about it, and this is the word choice that we picked.
Yeah, so it's really our way to try and show that we're committed to making this a full feature, and to also prepare people for the fact that one day this will be the feature, right? Legacy dynamic lighting is going to be sunset, and it will just be the updated dynamic lighting as the only dynamic lighting that's available. But we're committed to working on that really actively. We've been doing a lot of releases for it, lots of improvements. Check out those barriers, and trying to make it up to scratch. But it's part of our way of trying to show how committed we are to this project. At the same time, I think we've also learned along the way that there are things that we could have communicated a little better, and so we're taking those lessons into the future.
And we did update the communication that we had in the updated,
we added the development warning and stuff like that. And that's the kind of thing that I mean when I say we realized that there were some things that weren't as clear, so we're trying to clarify them.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. That's it. If there are any more questions, I missed them and we're out of time. It's pet time. Do you have your tortoise handy? I got tortoise this time.
I don't. I have my my pop Leslie Nope, which I can show here.
That's good.
If we started with a Parks and Recreation quote, which we did, if you didn't know it, season 5, episode 14 or something like that. Not that I have them. Yeah, I am. That's true. But no one's gonna check me. But Leslie Nope right here.
My Kenton BS meter was just going.
If he doesn't know the answer, he'll make one up.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have dogs, so here we go. Let's have this dog. He's taking a nap. He wants his dinner. And I think it's time to give him dinner. Thanks, Isun. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this Roll20 Roundtable for May 2020. If you missed any parts of it, again, the VOD will be up on YouTube. You can check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roll20app. Please subscribe. And all of our Roll20 Roundtables are in a playlist, so you can view all of those. You can also get handy tips about Roll20, watch our actual play shows. There's a lot of great stuff. And more great stuff coming. So please keep an eye out for Indoor Recess starting next week. Tune in for Learning Roll20 if you want to learn a little bit more about using the platform with D&D. And have a good weekend, everybody.
Thanks all for watching and sending in your questions.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye-bye.